My future self came to see me today. She told me that in order to have the life I saw her in, that fulfilled, peaceful, abundant life, I have to continue being a compassionate human who truly cares about people, who accesses empathy easily, and works in a timely way. Make every moment count. Make it last forever.
All right, Kirsten, thank you for joining us.
You are so welcome. So good to see you too.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Kirsten, for being with us. We're going to jump right into it. We want to know, how did you emerge into the role of becoming an entrepreneur? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I feel I was never born to be an office person. So I always liked to do something different. From when I was a child, I liked to organize ice skating and rollerblading events and dancing. And so I was always a little bit this kid that liked to inspire people to do something fun and active. And because I liked it too, and I thought everybody else will like it too, and most of the time they did it too. So, and I actually was very lucky. I was in a high school where they fostered us to be creative, where they fostered us to be creating things, we're developing things both from art, from music, from science. And we were taught to think outside the box. And I had wonderful leaders who really guided me to doing that and doing that in a meaningful and successful way. So that was my first step. And then in my life, I worked first as a job as a interpreter and translator, which is like like one of those jobs that your mom wants you to have because it's a decent job and you make nice money and have a good reputation. And I just noticed it's not me, even though it was fun. I worked for the Indian consulate and Canadian for a year and met lots of people, but I knew I just have to do something else. So by the time I was 25, I decided to change my career. I was lucky enough in Germany to get a scholarship for the university. I studied psychology, sports, and dance therapy. And that's why I came across meditation for the first time. And really the reason was, at that time I went to university, I was working, and I had not a lot of sleep. So I started stuttering. I went to a doctor and he couldn't figure out what to do. They gave me all kinds of, treatments, behavioral treatment. It didn't work. And then one day I walked by, there is a big transcendental meditation center right by my university in Hamburg. And I thought, maybe I should try it out. And so I just walked in and got a coach. He gave me an introduction. I thought, this is actually what I need to do. And so I did this, and I learned transcendental meditation with a personal trainer, then in a group. And I did this very, very intensely for quite a few years. And needless to say, I stopped stuttering pretty much within a couple of weeks. And then we have a mind-body center right by university. So I did a lot of different mind-body exercises, courses. So that was always part of my teaching besides the academic teaching that I had. And it kind of stayed with me in my life, even now where I'm a manager and of 2 clubs. I do have that other side as well. And I felt that's where the yin and yang in my life is. I always have both. On one hand, I manage, I have about 80 people under me right now, but I teach yoga, and I love teaching yoga. I teach meditation, Pilates as well, and dance. Dance is another outlet for me, which I feel is like the celebration of joy of life.
It's so beautiful that the school that you were at allowed for creativity to come out there. So it's such a blessing to have that kind of nurturing at a young age. And I'm so glad they did, because it ended up being so powerful for you in your journey.
It did. And it really, I think it really sets you up for that path later on in life. And it always set me up for thinking in the big picture. and thinking outside the box. And whatever I do in my job, I always think outside the box. I've been creating many fitness programs over the years, both in Europe as well as here, and always create something new for the companies I work for. So, and that's what I like also. I'm someone, if you give me something and I have to repeat doing it, I literally can't do it. If somebody tells me, can you teach the same class again? I said, I literally can't. I'm good, and I have my plan, but then I work with the people, and each time with the energy of the people that I have, something else will come out of it. And that's why I'm at my best. If you want me to learn something by heart and do it, it would be hard for me to do because I would be already bored. And I think that, one of the things I feel, being successful is know who you are. What makes you tick? What makes you passionate? What do you like? And some people would feel completely scared about it, about thinking, oh my God, I have to create it right there and then. I could never do this. And they might not be suited for that. But if you are suited for that, it's good. And I've been just talking to one of my friends who gave her first big speech, and she decided, I'm creative. I can talk off the cuff. I know what I want to say. And she did. And she said it was the best speech I did. And, knowing where you come from, that's the most important thing, for you to start from that place, which is you, and not what other people tell you to do, but what you feel is your authentic you.
That's right.
I just love how you're multifaceted, and that is being authentic to yourself. When it comes to your personal life and journey, what modalities do you practice in addition to what you teach in terms of mindfulness?
Well, I do a lot of meditation on one hand, but one of the things I do every single day, I go out into nature. And that's kind of my part where, from being very busy, surrounded by a lot of people, being out in quietness. And I know for myself, I need quietness. I need this pendant. And I spend an hour or two every day. And I've got my two big German shepherds with me, my big babies. And we just go out, and I just feel this. And that's where I start to sing. That's why I connect with people in spirit, where sometimes I talk to people as well. But that's where I feel I get closer to people around me, where I, look at my relationships, look at how I can nurture people in my life.
That was wonderful.
That's a great one. That's a great one to just mention, because we take it lightly that we have the fresh air of nature right outside our door. And right. I don't know, we take it for granted, I think. So thank you for reminding us of just going out and enjoying what we have.
And sometimes it's very simple, right? You just kind of have to find a spot that you like, and then just enjoy it and be aware of it, right?
That's right. And so what does holistic well-being mean to you in relation to your business, or even the current life events such as the pandemic right now?
Well, holistic means looking outside your own box and your own little world. And I had three things happen to me in the last 12 months. We had the pandemic, obviously, which changed all of our lives, which brought you inside. But I also lost two parts of my family. I lost my husband and I lost my mom 3 weeks ago. So those are big events. And one of the things that helped me is looking at the big picture, not just for me, but also for them. Like for instance, for my mom, she was at the end of her life, and I had very meaningful conversation. I was there when she passed, and I spent the last week with her and talked with her for the last month also, but the last week was very intense. And really being able to look at the picture, not of, oh, I'm losing my mom, but she is at the end of her life. She is fine with where she is. She's fine with transitioning, and it's her decision to go. And it was her decision that it was okay. And I think this, having years of being mindful and seeing the big picture was, yes, it's sad, but it was not detrimental. It was like, no, she wanted to go. It was, I'm okay. And I could give that peace to her, and also allowed her to let go in peace. And that made it almost into a beautiful experience. She was kind of frightened for a while, but I was able to give her the calmness and the peace so that she could transition into another life, wherever that is and whatever that is.
That's beautiful, beautiful.
And I believe that the foundation you've developed through the mindfulness practice you've had from a young age gives you that perspective that often is hard to have, particularly when you're losing someone you love, like your mom.
Yeah, that takes a long, long time. And I think, but it always takes as part of being aware, right? The awareness is not just about me. I'm just a little piece of it. I'm a piece in a big scheme, and everybody has their own journey, and allowing people to have their own journey. Of course, for us, we want our moms around us for all of our life, but that's just not the way. They have their own journey, and they transition when they want to, and being able to let go and making that okay.
Yes, thank you for that.
I always do believe people are connected energetically, no matter if they're here or somewhere else. So I always feel there is a presence of people around us, and we can feel them just as an energy. And that's a beautiful thing to have as well.
I believe that as well. Yes.
I believe that as well. And that's particularly when life is feeling overwhelming, like the past year. I feel like having that foundation helps your journey.
Yeah. And so, COVID was not so hard for me because I kept working. I was one of the few people who were in the club. So I was at work 3 days a week. I taught a lot from online, but I'm also okay being alone. I have a friend with whom I walk my dog. And so I'm fine with that. I'm pretty content. So I don't need tons of people around me. I call people, I've got connections, but I'm okay. It's okay. It's sometimes actually, I felt it was really, the meaning was for us to really get inside a little bit more, because life is so much outside. We're always busy. There's always something going on, and having an opportunity to have time for ourselves and with ourselves is actually a blessing by itself.
Yes, and if there's anything that we can give our listeners, it's to try to find a way to go within and find that peace and just get to know yourself, right?
Get to know yourself. And I know for myself and also friends of mine, they started doing something they have been wanting to do. Like I've got my guitar out again, or starting to paint, or, starting to write things, create something. So something that we usually are too busy to, and all of a sudden, wow, now we can explore it and have fun in it. And I think the message is really, no matter what life gives you, try to take whatever the good is in it. Try to take something and make something good out of it, create something positive in your life.
Yeah, that's a beautiful insight to share as well. Yeah.
Sounds like mindfulness has given you the ability to be resilient, and knowing that there are different options. Like when you mentioned, I think before the recording started, that your stepdaughter became certified during this period.
Yeah, that was actually such a surprise. So she's like I call it a mini-me. She's like also an athlete. She used to be a gymnast. Now she coaches gymnastics. She is a massage therapist for sports, but she also started liking yoga. So I've been taking her, and so she did more and more. And she just surprised me that she completed her 300-hour yoga certification. So
that's
it was
awesome.
like very beautiful. Yeah.
She made you proud.
Very much.
And so Tanya and I would love to know, for our viewers or our listeners, what insights would you give to them in living an authentic life that integrates being holistic on a daily basis?
I think authenticity comes mostly from loving who you are, acknowledging you for who you are and maybe who you are not. That's okay. Being able to differentiate between what people want you to be and who you like to be, and really stay on the path of who you like to be. Being like, who do I like in myself? What do I like in myself? And really let this person shine out. So you are the creator, the sculptor of your own self, of your own personality. And the more we get independent of needing to get feedback or from other people, or appreciation, validation from other people, the more we can actually get validation from our own self. And that's something that I think it took me a while in the beginning, but once I knew that, it was really a way to be able to give myself the freedom to sculpt to myself into the person I wanted to be, and not anybody else wants me to be. So I think that's the main part in being able to be mindful, being able to see the big picture again, see you in the world where you want to be in the world, and then create this person and this world around you so that you can be your best, that you can live your passion. And once you live your passion, that's the vehicle that brings you faster to your authentic self.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Just finding which part of you is the best version of you that you want to shine, and
right.
making it shine. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I did, I learned, and I think Shilpa, I share this with you. I learned many years ago. I learned a system with which we can do that. So it's basically, my trade is also a psychologist, and it's a system called NSM, and that teaches you how to get inside through a meditation and then create the picture of what you want. And in this picture, you will create your own self. And then you use that picture later on also to always remind you of that's the self I want to be. And then along the years, you can add more pictures, but it's almost like you create your own painting. And that really, really helped me as a base to then, or as a foundation to build up on it.
Well, what did you call it? It sounds like almost like you're creating a vision board.
It's almost like a vision board, but you start with the meditation, and then you basically envision yourself, and you get a picture. And that picture represents what your vision is, and then you basically go into writing what that picture is about, and then you create the picture and what it means for you, and then you go on from there. So it's a very powerful way. And I know everybody does something else. There's different ways of doing that, but that was my way. I think the main thing is always go inside, create this vision, and then establish it. Get reminders so you always stay on task. And with that, so you're consciously and subconsciously staying on task of that vision.
And what is the name of that technique, Kirsten?
It's called NSM, Neurodynamic Self-Management, a very long word for basically going into your subconscious, finding out what your subconscious wants, because that's your true self, then bring it into the conscious, bring it into the picture, and then from there you can write your story.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Thank you
and
so much.
And it's very creative too, because I love creativity. So even though I live in Silicon Valley, surrounded by engineers and IT and all of that, but I'm a very creative person. So everything that has something to do with dance or paintings or music and all of that inspires me.
Well, you bring a breath of fresh air to Silicon Valley. Let me tell you, they're lucky to have you. And we were so lucky to have you on our podcast. You shared some powerful insights that I'm hoping people will come out with and just use what you've so graciously told us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
As always, I thank you for tuning in. These episodes are meant to be of massive value to you, and so I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, all I ask in return is for you to give it a thumbs up, give it some love in the reviews, share with one or two friends whom you know will benefit from hearing this content. Check out the links in the description. Continue to lead with empathy, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Many blessings.